Welcome to Bigger Than You, the podcast to help you go from overwhelm, self-doubt and scarcity in your business to the calm, grounded and unshakably confident version of you that's going to bring your vision to life. You've got a mission and a purpose that's bigger than you and your limiting stories and beliefs. So let's get you out of your own way. I'm Jenna Holloway, your host and multi-award-winning intuitive hypnotherapist and mindset coach. Expect to hear game-changing perspective shifts on how to align your subconscious mind with your boldest goals, and will unlock the power of energetics, infusing it into every aspect of your life and business for maximum impact. Are you ready? Then let's dive in. Hello, thank you so much again for joining me. It's really exciting. What day is it? It's Wednesday, and I don't know when I recorded the episode, like the first episode back after a break, but it's definitely not been a week. And on that episode, I was like, I don't know when I'm going to be back. I don't know if it's going to be weekly episodes. I'm not promising anything. And here I am, like literally, I don't know what, 4 or 5 days later. So it's exciting. Again, not promising any kind of commitments or regularity with this episode. I will share as and when things feel good to share in terms of the episode and the podcast. Anyway, I'm waffling. Let's get into it. I'm going to be sharing a concept on this episode that actually I feel like hardly anyone is talking about in the online space. And it's a big difference. I'm live on Instagram at the moment, and I titled this Instagram live, "When Changing Nothing Changes Everything." I don't know what the title of the podcast episode is going to be yet, but it really is a really powerful concept. And my clients I've spoken to my clients about it this week several times. So if I'm talking to my clients about it, it obviously needs to be said to you guys too, right? So like I said, I always treat non-paying clients the same. So thank you for being here with your time and your energy. Annoyingly though, it's not actually a strategy episode, even though that's the thing I'm really excited to talk about. This isn't a strategy episode, but it needs to be said. So I think it's going to be quite a short episode. Well, I'll probably go on longer than I want to, but I feel like it's going to be a short, potent episode. And it's going to require some reflection from you. So what I would do is I would recommend listening to this episode a couple of times and then asking the questions that I'm going to share. I think it's just one question actually, and see what comes through for you. Okay, that information will be powerful. So heads up, you don't want to get this information and then ignore it. Okay, so yeah, if you want me to hold space for you with whatever comes through, I will listen. I will hold space for you in the DMs, obviously, and not push you into a sale. I talked about that on the last episode, and actually it's really it feels quite close to my heart actually, because I don't do pressure sales. Like, I'm not going to go into that because I talked about it on the last episode, but I've not shared this anywhere, but I very nearly invested thousands into a program recently, which isn't a big deal to me, right? I've invested so much money into myself since I started my business, but I nearly did it, and I knew at the time that it wasn't right, hence I didn't go for it. I knew it was a lack move. And I literally talk about this all the time, right? Lack moves get lack results. But I'm so proud of myself for not investing, because I could feel some resistance in my body. I knew it wasn't a hell yes. It was very, very subtle, but I listened. I trusted that. And it's not a scared to invest feeling, right? I invest so much into myself, and I know what it feels like to make a stretchy investment. It feels expansive, it feels exciting, it can feel a little bit nerve-wracking at the time. Of course, like I've experienced that loads of times. It wasn't that. I could just tell that something wasn't quite right, and so I waited. And then I went to London. Like, I had a date in the diary to go to London to meet up with some friends that I was in a mastermind with a couple of years back. And somebody just told me to hold on. So I went to London, met up with them, we basically like have a mastermind day and just catch up. And I shared this with them and they were like, no, Jenna, no, your messaging is good. You 100% do not need to invest in this. And well, I'm even sharing this. It's not got anything to do with what I'm sharing. I think I'm sharing this because because I've had conversations this week with people who have spent a lot of money, and like basically, I know that if I'd have got into that program, it might have been great, but I didn't need it, right? I didn't need it. I'm sure it would have been an amazing program. And I'm very lucky, actually, very lucky. I've not had one of those experiences where I have invested in myself and been burned, right? I know that a lot of people have. And it must, like, I can imagine it would make you feel sick to have invested so much money and then get like literal shit results, like shit curriculum or shit coaching or whatever it is, to feel like a number, whatever those horror stories are. Like, I'm so grateful that that I've not actually experienced that firsthand. But this, if you have, this isn't actually what I'm sharing in the episode, but this does need to come through. This does need to be said. If you have experienced that, first of all, I want you to forgive yourself, because yeah, if you've got shitty experiences from investing, then they're going to be holding you back energetically in all sorts of ways. Forgiveness comes first, and the healing from that, right? You need to heal from that. There are lessons to learn, of course. There's lessons to learn in everything that happens for us, but don't let that hold you back, right? From now on, draw a line, okay? Because what I'm going to share with you, the question I'm actually going to ask you, has nothing to do with your investment choices. Okay, so I did want to say that. And that said, now let's move on, because like I said, what I'm going to be asking you to reflect on isn't to do with your investment choices. Okay, so draw a line. The question I'm going to ask you is, look back in your business over the last few months, or even longer, you know, up to the last year or whatever, like whatever feels right for you. Reflect back. And I want you to ask yourself the question, what decisions have you made because you decided something wasn't working? When, had you been unwavering in your conviction and certainty for long enough, you could have seen results. Okay, say that again. Look back over your business. What decisions have you made because you decided something wasn't working? When, had you been unwavering in your conviction and your certainty for long enough, you could have seen results. This could be in several areas. This could be on pricing. This could be on who your ideal client is. Maybe you've decided to, maybe in the past you shifted to speaking to a more higher level client and then shifted back. Or maybe you upped your prices and then came back. It might be to do with the type of program that you're running. Maybe you shifted from high ticket to mid ticket, something like that. Okay. This is why mentorship is so, so powerful. All right. And I'm so thankful for that mastermind day that I had in London. And at the time, I wasn't in mentorship, but basically, my friends saved me thousands that day because they acted as my mentor, right? They helped me see in myself what I knew, what I wasn't seeing, right? Mentorship gives you the ability to see, to be supported where you can't see things. Okay. So yeah, even if you are so incredible what you do, we're all still human, right? And we have a human brain. And the brain is going to brain, right? We've all got egos. We've all got a brain that does not care about things that we want to achieve. And the dream business and the dream life that we see in our mind's eye, the brain couldn't care less. It's the subconscious that is in control most of the time, and all that cares about is just keeping you safe, keeping you alive, doesn't care about your happiness. So of course the brain is going to brain. The brain's going to find stories. It's going to find reasons for you to do things that actually doesn't serve your path or the vision that you have in your mind's eye. So we have to be unwavering. We have to be aware that the brain is going to brain. As in, when I say that, I mean we have to be aware that the brain is going to try to get us to waver. And we have to recognize that. And we have to not waver for long enough. And I say this from experience. I've made moves in my business that, looking back, I only made because I wavered. So if you knew that you had dream clients in your audience right now who were excited to pay you what you truly wanted to be charging, what would you be charging? We make our decisions because unconsciously or consciously we think that those people aren't there, but they are. We're just not tapped into them. Okay. You see, like consciously, you're aware that people pay an absolute fortune for the things that you do. So why do you think that you're not good enough to charge what you want to charge? If you knew you couldn't fail, what steps would you take in your business? That's the question I want you to ask yourself. And I want you to ask yourself from a place, from a bird's eye view. Because if you ask this question only looking forward and not considering what's happened already, then you're not going to get the most powerful answer you could, right? You burnt some bridges back there in the past based on decisions that potentially were unhelpful for your highest path, right? For the thing that you really truly want. So when you ask this question, I want you to consider, is there anything that you've tried before that you decided didn't work? And I want you to imagine that hadn't happened and ask yourself the question. If you knew you couldn't fail, what steps would you take in your business? You literally get to imagine a blank canvas, right? If what has happened in the past had no bearing on what you get to decide for yourself from now on, what would you choose? What steps would you take? The brain gets in the way, right? Tries to stop us. We tell ourselves stories that it's not working and we shift gears too early. But what if we were to be unwavering for long enough to experience the things that are there for us to experience? There is nuance to all of this, of course, right? And there are blind spots. And there are times when you do need to shift things. But those decisions need to be empowered decisions and not from a place of lack. Right? If you tell yourself it's not working, then you will literally continue to experience that reality. Your brain is always looking to confirm that you are right. just the brain's way of being, right? So, short and sweet episode. I have no idea how long this has been, but I'm pretty sure it's under 20 minutes. But I genuinely want this to give you some huge clarity. So, your brain will support you, right? But you've got to ask the right question. I recommend you listening again and then asking the questions. Literally write it at the top of a blank page. If I knew I couldn't fail, what would I do in my business? That's literally the question that I asked before I brought in the fact that I'm doing business coaching. Right? Fucking love what I'm doing. I loved it before. I'm amazing at the subconscious work. Intuition, seeing people's things that they don't even know, they're not even aware of. I see all that. I move people through stuff so powerfully when it comes to the subconscious capacity work. And I didn't know I was ready for an up level. I could feel something was there, and that was, if you've gone back and you've listened to why I paused the podcast, you can tell. Like, I didn't know it at the time, but I could feel something was going to come through. So I hit pause. I didn't make, this is the thing here. I added in business coaching, the strategy, the messaging, the positioning, the client journey, all of that stuff. I added that in as an empowered decision. Right? Because I asked myself the question, if I knew I couldn't fail, what would I be doing? So ask yourself that question. Your brain will support you. It will give you the right answer. Okay, but it might not come through straight away. And that's okay. Write it down at the top of the page. Put your pen down. Nothing comes through, put your pen down. Go and enjoy your day. It will come through. I promise you. Because you have the answers inside. And you get those answers when you ask the right questions. Like I said, this episode has huge potential for you. The power in this answer that's going to come through for you can be so game-changing. The information is nothing unless we act on it, right? So do something with it. And if you feel overwhelmed by the answer that comes through, don't panic, all right? I will hold space for you. Just DM me what came through. I will hold space for you. And I will absolutely not be pitching to you based on what you tell me. Okay? Send me lots of love, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye. Thank you for listening to the Bigger Than You podcast with your host, Jenna Holloway. If this episode has been valuable to you, please share it with a friend or leave a review.